Hello and welcome. Currently that of 9:51 p.m. Eastern Time, and the date is that of February 3rd, 2021. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. The overall, basically, what I'm going to be saying is this could get very, very interesting over the next little while, and I think that price increases could be substantial, especially when we're looking at some of these other coins, but Bitcoin included within this analysis. Theta in at $2.21 right now against the US dollar. And on the monthly chart, only a little bit of data where I can only show a little bit of this 18, which is obviously in a rising format, and prices extended nicely above such as it had a continuation liftoff amongst such. And I'll use continuation liftoff as it broke out originally above it with this leg higher, some sideways consolidation to enough to get to the 18 average of highs, and then nice little move. But even within a little bit of sideways movement in the January month. So, well, it's definitely not overextended to the point, oh, it's got to sell and everything. We could very easily, and I think we will be having some serious gains, especially when we're looking at things like in here. This is just a magnificent 1, 2, 3, 4, and even now we haven't done anything to change this trend. We're continuing within five sideways movements of just pausing. Markets can correct one and or of two ways, and that is either through price or through time. And more times than not, when you have a time correction, you're going to have a price correction. And it's very rare for me to ever show you one that's not. Well, here it is, in the sense of usually when you have a time correction, a market will have a great up move, and then it'll go down, and then it'll just do all of this type of stuff. And it was probably even up more to the point where, yeah, it went through, and it will say it continued on within this range, of course. Yeah, it was a time correction, albeit there was this one big day or 3 days where it went down decently. And as it goes here amongst the daily term, this is looking really, really interesting. So what a beautiful run it was in December, going from like a little over $0.50 to well over $2. And the high was dated on January the 2nd. So a little over a month of this sideways movement. So here's that little bit of price correction here, I suppose, on January the 11th. Down 8.53, down 8.5% on the close, but was definitely down much more. But since that point, higher lows, higher highs, all that stuff. Well, we haven't been making higher highs, however. Low, 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 higher lows. And the highs, of course, we got this one. We had a little bit here, but whatever. Then we have this high. We pierce above here, matching, and we're still noticeably, I suppose, below this. But what I do like about price action as it is, it had this move getting above the 18 average of highs and a retest in the general area of these resistance points. It has had the hold day on Wednesday, which is fantastic session. Yeah, it was only at 1.59%, but the signals to me that it's stating, I think, is magnificent. Now, amongst the 4-hour term here, we have a move up to this point. It was even hit twice, but you come up to it, then back down again. Up to this point, and now correcting within it. It still has to get above this 240 point. You got to get above this short-term level, and then you're going to have another short-term point, like range to 248. But if I see it even in that level, I'll be like, oh boy, there's probably going to be a good chance that it's even going to have continuation moves higher, and that a break and an exitation, if it happens here, we could continue to see strength on the 18 highs for 5 days or 4 days, and so many different things can still happen. But the signals is nice, and on this, and the situation of a break, like getting a 250, 260, I mean $3, $3.20, $3.40 would be levels that could be seen so fast, and that's just like mad good levels for a good level. We could be like $5, $8, $10 move. These moves are very well live for possibilities that come into play on a situation of a breakout move. As far as Litecoin is concerned, it made a statement. on Wednesday. And the statement is an attempt to get this bull market back and going again and end the correctionary phase. And this is, again, here's one of the spots right here I was drawing in there where you oftentimes have that big move down. There it is right there. Then you go sideways. Here it is. And it's made a move up near, but not quite, to this level of resistance on January 19th, but most certainly the area and above, like 153, 154, but in that area. And once, if you see us trying to get going above it, once you have the early stages of leaving the 18 average of highs after some sort of correctionary move like this, leaving a downtrend or sideways move, the gains can become spectacular because here's the moves up to this point here. You had a situation leaving the 18 highs around 95, and then it has a leg up to 122, and then of course eventually up to 180. And even before then, leave an 18 average of highs on so many of these different levels. Now that doesn't mean it's always going to work out that way, but mathematically it's always going to work out that if you buy in the lower end of the chart compared to the higher end, that it's going to be a better price, and that whenever you have a big move, it's and well extended above the 18 average of highs, then if you buy barely above 18 average of highs, it's going to work out. So just basic stuff like that. But as it goes, the way the Litecoin chart is moving has been fantastic thus far. And let's move on next. Before we do that, nice little move above the 18 above this level of resistance in here. So we have this key low. I guess you can count. I guess you'd be using from like 118 in here. Hold really the fib area for what it's worth. 136 on and like the big must hold area, because now that it's already had the exercise, it's already exercised the move to get above the key resistance of between 144 and 146. Now that statement's been made and all that type of stuff. Okay, you're looking to be breaking out. You've done well in correcting amongst Fibonacci in here. If you're going to go down, that's fine, but let's make that like Fibonacci 61.8, 76.4 higher low kind of deal. And then we'll retrace back, break the resistance we've now established thus far, barely over 153, and so on and so forth. But definitely live for fantastic gains. Let's move on next with Ethereum, which is in at 1,677 right now, and barely making that of all-time highs. And it's going to be almost of who's next in order. Okay, first we got Bitcoin, then we got Ethereum, and I don't know if any have come after that, but who's going to be making all-time highs? And when I say all-time highs over the highs that they established most likely at the end of 2017, start of 2018 time frame. Well, pretty much all the other coins have started 2018. So it's gotten above those levels on the weekly time frame, nicely overextended. But here's that situation where you have two decent sized green candles that occurred, 43 and 28. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, decent, but for a week you could probably have better than that. There's 66% up one here, and we have 50% there. Is it possible you can do better? Maybe, but regardless of the fact, it had grinded it through higher through time, but 3 periods at which it didn't really extend its gains. In fact, the rate of how far it was from the 18 average of highs, the closes and whatnot, was decreased because its increase was barely much at all. So it's another way of correcting in a sense. Daily chart, you can see the pure sideways consolidation in here, where we had resistance established at about 1345, but what did we see happen on Wednesday or Tuesday session? Yeah, pretty big situation in here as it broke above this level of resistance excitation. And to me, this looks like this is full-fledged ready for a fantastic move. And let's finish it off within Bitcoin chart. I usually start these videos off, but Bitcoin 38,000 US dollars at this time frame, and there's a situation where it had this big high at around $1,200. Then you had a Mt. Gox situation, corrects back down to 200 and so and change. And then it resists past that point, and what a big move it had, going up to 18,000. So about a 15x move, well 20,000, but we'll say about 15 or so x move. From the break of resistance, not from the high, even larger from the low. And then a situation in which we come down and to a little over 3,000. So this is about 6-7x, but most significant higher low from the previous one, because it could have came down to 1,000 and it would have been even a nice higher low at 1,000, but no 3,000. And then a higher low at that to 4,000. But the 4,000 really didn't count too much because really the low was like 6,000, because it not like there's much time. You might have like a day or two or something, whatever, at those low prices, a few days. And then it sets the excitation. And that's why I said before, when the early stages of the breakout, it's, I mean, not as early as it was before, but just that could have been the case in here when you're like talking about like 12 and like 2,600 in different areas as well. On the weekly chart, just simply having a whole crap load of green candles up, but just a couple sideways. Two decent, not really, but okay. Yeah, really, I guess. 6 and 10% down. But starting to bring its momentum back higher. And then in here on the daily. So it originally comes down, or not originally, I guess originally from the high, because we came down the 18 here, moved left higher for a good move. Then we left the 18, came up and attempted, not quite, to go higher in this session. Okay. And then it spends a lot of time in the 18 and even has a breakdown below the 18 average of lows on January the 21st and retests a previous level that it established on January the 11th. From that point on, it managed to have a mediocre rally resisting this previous area of support, and then bearish setup, because this, I mean, more often you test key areas of support resistance, the more likely is you take it out. And also a lot of the times these correctionary moves can often resemble or resolve themselves within the primary trend. So the primary trend's higher, and we're having a test of support for the third time on the 27th. But the next day on the 28th, it rallies, and then the next day after that, it rallies above the 18 average of highs, making a statement that it wants to really revert the trend. And so far, it's looking, and we can see here from this high to this low, it's already back to that previous high, that it's already retraced pretty much 100% from this low to this high, that this is a successful correctionary move. And we can see we've supported within these 3-4 days, couple more days on top of that, like 6 or so, that it resisted here. And then with the excitation on the Wednesday session, this to me is getting very, very serious right now for that of these prices to have some substantially significant gains. Now, while this is going on and Bitcoin is showing this magnificent setup, let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. And this is the daily time frame, and it's definitely not an uptrend right now. It's at this line that I've got drawn in, and it's been showing weakness amongst the 18 average of lows right now. And it's been grinding and barely holding in this area, and now it's congesting at an area of support that it retested after it had before. So again, an area testing of support. Now that doesn't guarantee that this will go break down no matter what. And if Bitcoin rallies, that could really work either way, in the sense of, Bitcoin has a fantastic move and all the altcoins go down against Bitcoin, or like Bitcoin goes up 8% and other coins go up 2% and 4% and 1%, and in that general area, that could happen. But I am expecting a period where, and I think it's a little overdue, because I felt it was going to happen on the noticeable break of 20,000, which is a little passé now, that situational event of cryptocurrencies, like all the other altcoins going up and Bitcoin going up together. This could be the start of that within these moves. I hope it is. I mean, whatever the market does, the market will do. I can only react to the situation, and only price pays. So within those situations, I'll just reflect on that, do some number calculations when need be, and so on and so forth. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.